The frigid December air swept through the streets of San Francisco like an unforgiving tide. Among the bustling crowd of hurried strangers was Arthur Hayes, a 72-year-old Army veteran with a weathered face that bore the stories of a lifetime. For 5 years, Arthur had called the streets home, his life uprooted by the crushing weight of medical bills from his late wife's cancer treatments. Arthur sat hunched in his usual spot near the entrance of a bustling tech hub, holding a cardboard sign that read, "Veteran in need. Any help appreciated." Most days, people brushed past him, their eyes averted, lost in their digital worlds. But Arthur had grown used to being invisible. It was a part of his reality now. As he huddled deeper into his thin coat to ward off the morning chill, a commotion caught his attention. A sleek electric car sat parked awkwardly at the curb, steam rising from under its hood. The driver, clearly distressed, paced around the vehicle. Even from a distance, Arthur recognized the man, Elon Musk, the enigmatic billionaire often seen on news headlines. For a moment, Arthur hesitated. Approaching someone like Elon Musk seemed audacious for a man in his position. But his instincts as a mechanic, honed during his years in the Army, kicked in. Rising from his spot with a stiffness that reflected his age, Arthur approached cautiously. "Excuse me, sir," Arthur said, his voice steady but soft. "Looks like you've got some trouble there. I used to be a mechanic, maybe I can take a look?" Musk paused, his gaze flickering with hesitation before softening. "That would actually be great," he replied, glancing down at his phone. "I've got a meeting, and this couldn't have happened at a worse time." Arthur's skilled hands, though weathered and trembling with age, moved with purpose as he examined the car. Years of experience resurfaced, and before long he identified the issue. "Your cooling system's got a leak," Arthur explained. "I can patch it up well enough to get you to where you need to go." Using improvised tools from his cart, Arthur worked quickly, his mind focused on the task. Within 20 minutes, the engine roared to life, drawing a look of amazement from Musk. "Thank you really," Musk said, extending his hand. "What do I owe you?" Arthur shook his head firmly. "Nothing, sir. Just glad I could help. My late wife always said, helping others is its own reward." As Musk studied Arthur, his expression shifted. He wasn't just looking at a man who had helped him in a pinch, he saw someone with a story. "What's your name?" Musk asked. "Arthur Hayes." "Well, Mr. Hayes, I'd like to hear your story," Musk said with genuine interest. Arthur hesitated before sharing pieces of his life, his time in Vietnam, his career as a mechanic, and the devastating loss of his wife. He spoke plainly, without self-pity, recounting his struggles as if they were simply part of the journey. By the time Musk had to leave, he handed Arthur a business card. "I don't believe in coincidences," Musk said. "Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., go to this address and ask for Linda in HR. Will you do that for me?" Arthur looked at the card, his heart racing with uncertainty. "Sir, I'm not looking for charity." "It's not charity," Musk replied. "It's an opportunity, one you've more than earned." As Musk drove away, Arthur stood there clutching the card, a flicker of hope stirring in his chest for the first time in years. The next morning, Arthur found himself standing in front of a towering glass building in downtown San Francisco. The Tesla logo gleamed above the entrance, a symbol of modern innovation and success. Arthur felt out of place in his worn coat and faded jeans, clutching Elon Musk's business card tightly. Doubts crept into his mind as he wondered if showing up had been a mistake. Taking a deep breath, Arthur stepped through the automatic doors, the warmth of the lobby wrapping around him like a reassuring embrace. The polished marble floors and the hum of activity felt worlds away from the cold streets he had called home. Approaching the reception desk, Arthur cleared his throat nervously. "Excuse me, I'm here to see Linda in HR," he said, holding out the card Musk had given him. The receptionist, a young woman with a friendly smile, glanced at the card and nodded. "Of course, Mr. Hayes. Please have a seat. Linda will be with you shortly." Arthur sat down, fidgeting with the brim of his cap. Moments later, a woman in her mid-40s with a professional demeanor and kind eyes approached him. "Mr. Hayes, I'm Linda. Please follow me." She led Arthur to a private conference room where they sat across from each other. Linda placed a folder on the table and looked at him thoughtfully. "Mr. Musk spoke very highly of you. He told me about what you did for him yesterday and your background as a mechanic and veteran." Arthur shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "I wasn't expecting any of this," he admitted. "I was just doing what I could to help." Linda smiled. "That's exactly why Mr. Musk wanted to meet you. He believes in rewarding integrity and hard work." She opened the folder, revealing a stack of papers. Tesla has a program dedicated to hiring veterans and those who face difficult circumstances. We'd like to offer you a position as a technician in our maintenance department. Your skills and experience are a perfect match." Arthur's eyes widened in disbelief. "A job? Here? At Tesla?" "Yes," Linda confirmed. "It's full-time, with benefits. And we can also help arrange housing through one of our community assistance programs. Mr. Musk insisted on making sure you have everything you need to get back on your feet." Arthur's hands trembled as he processed her words. For years, he had fought to survive day by day, never daring to dream of a future beyond the streets. Now, he was being offered not just a job, but a chance to reclaim his dignity and rebuild his life. "But why?" Arthur asked, his voice breaking. "Why would he do this for someone like me?" Linda leaned forward, her tone compassionate. "Because Mr. Musk believes in the power of second chances. He sees potential in people, not just their circumstances. And from what he told me, you've earned this opportunity through your actions and character." Tears welled in Arthur's eyes as he nodded. "I'll do my best," he said quietly. Linda smiled warmly. "I have no doubt about that, Mr. Hayes. Welcome to Tesla." As Arthur signed the necessary paperwork, a sense of hope and purpose began to replace the weight of despair he had carried for so long. When he left the building that day, he wasn't just another face in the crowd, he was a man with a future. Arthur paused outside the building, looking up at the Tesla logo once more. For the first time in years, he felt like he belonged somewhere. He clutched the folder tightly and whispered to himself, "This is the start of something new." Arthur's first day at Tesla was a whirlwind of emotions. He arrived early, wearing a crisp uniform that had been tailored for him as part of his onboarding. It felt strange to see his name embroidered on the chest, Arthur Hayes. For years, his identity had been reduced to just another forgotten soul on the streets. Now, he was part of something bigger. Linda met him at the entrance and gave him a tour of the sprawling facility. The sheer scale of the operation left Arthur in awe. Rows of gleaming electric vehicles in various stages of production, robotic arms performing intricate tasks with precision, and teams of engineers working collaboratively in an environment buzzing with innovation. "This is where you'll be working," Linda said, stopping by a spacious maintenance bay. A man in his late 30s approached, extending a grease-stained hand. "Arthur, I'm Rick, the lead tech here. Welcome to the team." Arthur shook his hand firmly. "Thanks, I'm looking forward to learning from you." Rick grinned. "Well, if what I've heard about you is true, you might be teaching us a thing or two." Arthur's first task was simple but symbolic, assisting in the repair of a malfunctioning robotic arm on the assembly line. Rick guided him through the process, explaining the technology behind the machinery. Despite his nerves, Arthur's hands moved with practiced ease, his mechanical intuition honed over years of fixing engines and machines. "You've got a real knack for this," Rick said, watching Arthur work. Arthur shrugged modestly. "I guess some things just stick with you." By lunchtime, Arthur had begun to feel the stirrings of confidence. He ate in the employee cafeteria, surrounded by colleagues who treated him like any other member of the team. It was a small but profound shift to be seen, acknowledged, and valued. During a break, Rick pulled Arthur aside. "Hey, I know you've had a rough go of it," he said gently. "But you belong here, man. Don't let anyone, not even yourself, tell you otherwise." Arthur nodded, his throat tightening with emotion. "Thanks, Rick. That means a lot." Over the next few weeks, Arthur threw himself into his work. Every day brought new challenges, but also new opportunities to prove himself. He stayed late to learn from his peers, often poring over manuals and blueprints to familiarize himself with the advanced systems Tesla employed. His coworkers noticed his dedication and began to respect him not just as a technician, but as a person. One evening, as Arthur was finishing up for the day, he received an unexpected visitor. Elon Musk himself strolled into the maintenance bay, his presence commanding but approachable. "Arthur," Elon greeted him with a nod. "How's it going?" Arthur straightened, surprised and a little nervous. "Good, sir. Just trying to keep up." Elon smiled. "From what I hear, you're doing more than keeping up. Rick says you've got the makings of a top-notch tech. I had a feeling you'd rise to the challenge." Arthur hesitated, unsure of how to respond. "Thank you, Mr. Musk. I still can't believe any of this is real." Elon's expression softened. "It's real, Arthur, and it's yours because you earned it. But remember, this is just the beginning. The road ahead is yours to shape." As Elon left, Arthur stood alone in the quiet bay, the weight of his words sinking in. For the first time in years, Arthur allowed himself to dream not just of survival, but of building something meaningful. That night, he returned to his small but comfortable apartment, a far cry from the streets he had once called home. Sitting at the kitchen table, he pulled out a notebook and began to jot down his thoughts and goals. Step 1, he wrote, underlining the words with determination, prove to myself that I belong. With every word, Arthur felt the chains of his past loosening. The man who had once been invisible to the world was now on a path of transformation, determined to make the most of the second chance he had been given. Arthur's transformation at Tesla was not without hurdles. The initial glow of being part of something greater began to fade as the reality of his new life set in. With every step forward, the shadows of his past seemed to creep closer, whispering doubts into his ear. The first challenge came in the form of a difficult task. A critical system on the assembly line had malfunctioned, bringing production to a halt. Arthur and Rick were called in to diagnose the issue. As they pored over the blueprints, Arthur noticed something off in the wiring configuration, a mistake so subtle that even the experienced Rick hadn't caught it. I think this might be it, Arthur suggested hesitantly, pointing to the schematic. Rick studied it for a moment before nodding. You might be right. Let's try it. The fix worked, and the line was back up and running within hours. The team celebrated, but Arthur couldn't shake the feeling that he didn't truly belong. After all, solving one problem didn't erase years of struggle or the stigma that came with it. It didn't take long for his fears to materialize in the form of subtle resistance from some coworkers. A few of them, skeptical of Arthur's background, whispered behind his back or avoided him altogether. Why would they bring someone like him here? He overheard one say during a lunch break. Though the words stung, Arthur refused to let them derail him. Instead, he poured his energy into his work, determined to let his actions speak louder than the prejudices against him. Linda noticed his growing isolation and pulled him aside one day. Arthur, I know it's not easy. Some people can't see past their own biases, but don't let them define you. You've earned your place here. Trust in that. Her encouragement kept him going, but the challenges didn't end there. A few weeks later, Arthur was given the opportunity to lead a project, a test of his abilities, and a chance to prove himself further. The task was to upgrade a set of robotic arms on the production line to improve efficiency. At first, Arthur was excited, but as he delved into the complexities of the project, doubt crept in. The systems were far more advanced than anything he had worked on before, and the pressure to succeed was immense. Am I really ready for this? He wondered aloud one night, staring at the project schematics spread across his kitchen table. The fear of failure weighed heavily on him, but so did the memory of Elon Musk's words, "The road ahead is yours to shape." With renewed determination, Arthur sought help from his peers, asking questions and learning from their expertise. Slowly but surely, he pieced together a plan. When the day came to implement the upgrade, Arthur led his team with quiet confidence, ensuring every detail was accounted for. The result was a resounding success. The upgraded system not only improved efficiency, but also reduced the line's error rate significantly. Arthur's efforts didn't go unnoticed. Rick and Linda both praised his leadership, and even the skeptics began to view him in a new light. But the greatest challenge came not from his work but from within. Arthur still carried the weight of his past, the lingering shame and self-doubt that threatened to undo all he had achieved. One evening, as he walked home, he passed a group of homeless individuals huddled together for warmth. The sight brought back memories of his own nights on the streets, and for a moment he felt a pang of guilt. Why me? Why did I get a second chance when so many don't? Arthur realized then that his journey wasn't just about proving himself, it was about making his success meaningful. He decided to volunteer at a local shelter, sharing his story with others who were struggling. I've been where you are, he told them one evening. And I'm here to tell you it's never too late to change your story. Through his work at Tesla and his outreach efforts, Arthur began to redefine himself. He was no longer just a man trying to escape his past. He was someone building a future, not only for himself but for others who needed hope. Arthur's volunteer work became a pivotal part of his life, a bridge between his past and present. He spent his weekends at the shelter, helping others navigate the same challenges he once faced. His story resonated with many, and his transformation inspired hope among those who had all but given up. Word of Arthur's efforts soon reached the management at Tesla. Linda, always attuned to the stories that mattered, proposed a bold idea to Elon Musk himself. Arthur's journey is remarkable, she said. It's not just a testament to him, but to Tesla's mission of building for the future. I think we should share his story. Elon agreed, and soon a team was dispatched to document Arthur's life, his struggles, his growth, and the impact he was now making both inside and outside Tesla. At first, Arthur was hesitant. The idea of exposing his vulnerabilities to the world was daunting. "Why would anyone care about my story?" he asked Linda. "Because it's real," she replied. "It shows people that change is possible, that no matter how far you fall, you can rise again." The documentary was released on Tesla's social media platforms under the title Redemption, Arthur's Story. It began with stark images of his past, grainy footage of homeless encampments and the daily struggle for survival. But as the narrative unfolded, it shifted to scenes of hope. Arthur working diligently at Tesla, mentoring new hires, and volunteering at the shelter. The response was overwhelming. Messages of support poured in from around the world. People shared how Arthur's story had inspired them to face their own challenges. "Your journey gives me hope," one commenter wrote. "If you can turn your life around, maybe I can too." Back at Tesla, Arthur's colleagues began to see him in a new light. The skeptics who once doubted his place on the team now sought his advice and celebrated his achievements. Even Rick, who had always been supportive, admitted, "You've done something incredible here, Arthur. I'm proud to call you a friend." But the crowning moment came when Elon Musk himself visited the production floor to meet Arthur. Standing amidst the whirring machines and robotic arms, Elon extended his hand. "You've shown what resilience and determination can achieve," Elon said. "You embody the spirit of Tesla, turning challenges into opportunities. I want you to know that your story matters." The recognition was humbling, but for Arthur, the greatest reward was the sense of purpose he had found. He was no longer defined by his mistakes or the years he had spent lost in the world. Instead, he was a man who had rebuilt his life piece by piece, finding strength in his struggles and using them to lift others. Arthur's impact continued to grow. Tesla invited him to speak at company events, where he shared his insights on resilience and the power of second chances. He even started a mentorship program within the company, pairing employees with individuals from underserved communities, offering them the support and guidance he had once yearned for. Through it all, Arthur remained grounded. He knew that his journey was far from over, but he embraced each step with gratitude. His past was no longer a source of shame, but a wellspring of strength, a reminder of how far he had come and the possibilities that lay ahead. The man who had once wandered the streets in despair was now a symbol of hope and transformation. And though his journey had begun with a chance encounter on the side of a road, it was clear that Arthur had forged his own destiny, one of resilience, redemption, and the unyielding belief that the road ahead was his to shape. Arthur's story didn't just end with personal redemption, it became a movement that inspired systemic change. The mentorship program he started at Tesla was the first step towards something bigger, a vision to help those on the margins find a way back into society. One day, while working with a group of new hires, Arthur met Marcus, a young man who reminded him of his younger self. Marcus had grown up in foster care, bouncing from one home to another, and had struggled to find stable employment. When Tesla hired him, he was eager but overwhelmed by the challenges of adapting to a demanding work environment. "I don't think I belong here," Marcus confided in Arthur during a lunch break. Arthur smiled, recalling his own early doubts. "Neither did I," he said. "But you're here for a reason. Let's figure it out together." Arthur became Marcus's mentor, guiding him through the intricacies of the job and offering life advice along the way. Under Arthur's guidance, Marcus began to thrive, not just as an employee but as a person. Watching Marcus's transformation reminded Arthur of the power of a helping hand, a lesson he carried forward in everything he did. This success caught the attention of nonprofit organizations in the area. One such group, Bridges to Hope, reached out to Arthur with a proposal to partner with Tesla to create a training program for individuals transitioning out of homelessness or incarceration. The idea resonated deeply with Arthur. "If we give people the tools and opportunities they need," he said during a planning meeting, "we can break the cycle. We can show them that they're not defined by their past." Linda and Tesla's leadership supported the initiative wholeheartedly. Soon, Bridges to Hope and Tesla launched the Pathways to Progress program. The initiative provided job training, mentorship, and employment opportunities to individuals facing significant barriers. Arthur played a central role, designing workshops that focused not just on technical skills but also on building confidence and resilience. The program's success exceeded everyone's expectations. Participants found not only employment but also a sense of belonging and purpose. Testimonials poured in from graduates who credited the program and Arthur in particular for changing their lives. Among them was a woman named Clara, who had spent years struggling to find work after leaving prison. At the program's graduation ceremony, she stood before the audience, tears streaming down her face. "I thought my life was over. Clara said. But this program in Arthur showed me that I'm worth more than my mistakes. For the first time in years, I feel like I have a future. Arthur's heart swelled with pride, but he remained humble. It's not just about me, he told the audience. It's about all of us working together to create a better world. The program gained national recognition, with media outlets highlighting its innovative approach to tackling unemployment and poverty. Arthur found himself in the spotlight, invited to speak at conferences and community events. Though the attention was daunting, he used every platform to advocate for the cause that had become his life's mission. At one such event, Arthur addressed a packed auditorium. My journey taught me that second chances aren't just about individuals, he said. They're about communities. When we lift each other up, we all rise. As the audience erupted into applause, Arthur felt a deep sense of fulfillment. His life, once defined by loss and despair, had become a testament to the power of hope and the human spirit's capacity for change. Arthur continued his work with unwavering dedication, always striving to make a difference. The bridges he built between people, communities, and opportunities became his lasting legacy. And though he never sought recognition or praise, he found joy in knowing that his journey had not only redeemed his own life but had also paved the way for countless others to find their own path to redemption. Arthur's impact didn't stop with the Pathways to Progress program. Over time, his efforts began to create a ripple effect, spreading far beyond Tesla and his local community. What started as a small initiative blossomed into a movement that inspired other companies, organizations, and individuals to reimagine the power of second chances. One day, Arthur received an invitation to speak at a national summit on workforce development. The theme of the summit was empowering change through inclusion. Arthur felt a mix of excitement and nerves as he prepared his speech. He thought back to his early days at Tesla when he doubted his own worth. Now he stood as a beacon of hope, sharing a story that had transformed not just his life, but also the lives of many others. In his speech, Arthur spoke with raw honesty. I was someone who thought my story was over, he began. But I learned that every ending can become a beginning if we're given the tools, support, and belief to make it so. It's not just about giving someone a job, it's about giving them dignity, purpose, and a chance to rewrite their narrative. The audience gave him a standing ovation. Among the attendees were executives from major corporations, policymakers, and nonprofit leaders. Many approached Arthur afterward, eager to collaborate or replicate the Pathways to Progress model within their own organizations. One of those leaders was Sarah Monroe, the CEO of a tech startup in New York City. Inspired by Arthur's story, she reached out to him with a proposal to create a similar mentorship and training program within her company. Together, they developed New Horizons, a program designed to train underserved youth in coding and software development. As Arthur's partnerships expanded, so did his vision. He founded a nonprofit organization called the Second Wave Initiative, dedicated to creating opportunities for people facing barriers to employment. Through this initiative, Arthur organized workshops, job fairs, and community events aimed at fostering inclusion and breaking down stereotypes. Arthur's story also caught the attention of the media. Documentaries, podcasts, and news articles highlighted his journey and the transformative impact of his programs. Though he was initially hesitant about the publicity, Arthur saw it as an opportunity to amplify his message. Change starts with one person, he said during an interview on a popular talk show. But when that person is supported, they can spark a movement. That's what I want to be, a spark for something bigger than myself. The stories of those Arthur had helped were a testament to the power of his mission. Marcus, Clara, and countless others shared how their lives had been transformed by Arthur's mentorship and the opportunities they received through his programs. One particularly moving moment came when Marcus, now a manager at Tesla, introduced Arthur at a company-wide event. With tears in his eyes, Marcus said, Arthur didn't just teach me how to do my job, he taught me how to believe in myself. He's the reason I'm standing here today. Arthur's humility remained his defining trait. He often deflected praise, emphasizing the collective effort behind every success. None of this would have been possible without the people who believed in me and the teams who worked alongside me, he said. As the years passed, the Second Wave Initiative grew into a national network, helping thousands of individuals rebuild their lives. Arthur became a sought-after speaker and consultant, but he always returned to his roots, mentoring individuals, listening to their stories, and offering words of encouragement. In his quiet moments, Arthur reflected on the journey that had brought him to this point. He thought of Linda, whose unwavering belief in him had been the catalyst for everything. He thought of the countless people who had taken a chance on him, and those he had been able to help in return. Arthur's life had become a testament to the idea that every person, no matter their past, has the potential to create a better future. His story wasn't just about redemption. It was about the power of connection, compassion, and the belief that even the smallest actions can create ripples of change.